Hello, welcome back to Healing Mama podcast. I am Val, aka Healing Mama, and today is episode 11, Why People Choose Not to Heal. So, as always, we will go ahead and kick it off with a quote. This one is pretty simple, pretty easy. The quote says, "A lot of people choose not to heal because of how hard it is." Author unknown. So that's a pretty simple one, right? I feel like that's extremely true because in order for us to heal, we have to dive deep into the things that have hurt us in the past, things that we have kind of hidden subconsciously. We don't want to bring up, we don't want to try to remember them. And so with healing, all of that comes up and we take ourselves back to the moment of when we were in that exact situation. We take ourselves back to those feelings, to those thoughts that run through our mind, to even places, smells, things that we were experiencing with our senses. And so it's not a good place to go to, right? But in order for us to live our best lives and to be able to grow as spiritual beings, we do need to be able to work on ourselves to get past that hurt. I know in one of the very first episodes I did in season 2, we had gone through some inner child healing prompts, and I know a lot of you liked that. So I kind of wanted to dive into this episode and, of course, kick it off with a quote. But I also had a question that I was going to ask myself, and I'm going to be fully transparent with you guys, and that I would also like you to ask yourselves. So the question is, if you could tell your younger self one thing right now, what would you say? And this kind of intertwines with the healing portion because I would tell younger Val that was a teenager, and angry Val that was in her early 20s and wanted to fight anyone and everyone that looked at her any kind of way. I would tell her, it's okay to heal. It's okay to let go. It's okay to begin this journey of forgiveness and self-love and not be so angry all the time. And I would tell her that while with the pain that you do have to go through in this journey of self-healing in the terms of reminding yourself, I would tell her that it's 100% worth it. And that when you come through on the other side of the healing, that you are happy wholeheartedly. I can say from the bottom of my heart, I'm human. I'm going to go through my ups and downs, but even through my lowest of my lows, I still feel a sense of gratitude, a sense of peace, a sense of love. And it's just something that I've never experienced in my life. And so I would tell little me, it's okay to heal. It's okay to work on yourself. You don't have to be this angry anymore. You can let go and you can forgive. And I used to hear people say, forgiveness isn't for the other person, it's for yourself. And I used to think that's bullshit. Like, people want to hear we are sorry for whatever we've done. And I used to think it was for them. Now I do feel like forgiveness is for ourselves, right? And I say that from a place of, I have set boundaries with certain people and I've set boundaries with important people, my father, my mom. And so I can say from the bottom of my heart that forgiveness is for myself. I may never receive an apology from my father for things that have been said or done. And that's okay, right? Because I have to learn to forgive what was said, because forgiveness is for me. It's not for him. Forgiveness is so that I can continue to move on and that I don't give him the power of taking away a sense of my peace, a sense of my self-love, a sense of my self-worth, because that is all something that I have the power to do. And so when I look at the situation of things that have been said or done, I forgive him wholeheartedly, because I know that if I don't forgive, then I'll hold a grudge, and I don't want to do that. I used to be the person that I would hold grudges and I would not talk to people. I could be in the same room with you and I would still ignore you as if you didn't even walk into the room, or as if when I walked into the room, didn't see you there. Like, that was how cold I could be. And I would hold on to it and I would be so angry and I would just be waiting for the moment for somebody to pop off so that I could be ready to pop off on the other end. And so as I've gone through this healing journey, I've really started to realize and focus on the healing part of it for myself, focus that forgiveness is for me. It's not necessarily for the other person. When I look at situations and scenarios where people have hurt me or done me wrong, I look at it with forgiveness, right? In the sense of, I forgive you. Would I need to keep you in my life if it's something that continues to hurt me day in and day out? You're not learning, you're not growing, you're not seeing that what you're doing is causing me pain? No. And that's where boundaries come in. And that's where I need to learn to set a boundary. But for the most part, if it is something that I've said my piece. I've let you know how I feel, what you're doing to hurt me, and I can tell you, hey, I forgive you, and we can learn to fix it and work towards it being a better situation for each other where I respect you, you respect me, then wonderful. But sometimes that's not the case, right? And so I feel like in this healing journey, I would tell little me, younger teenage pissed off Val, that it's okay to heal. It's okay to go into this journey. And yes, it's scary, but we're going to get through this. And I think another part of the healing journey that's hard for people to accept coming in is that once we do start this healing journey, it's something that is lifelong and it's not a one and done thing. It's not, hey, I meditated for a month, 2 months, I'm where I need to be. This is like an everyday journey. And I feel like that's another reason why people don't want to put in the work to heal, because it's easier for us to be who we are and not have to put work in ourselves, right? We want the other people to change. We want situations just to come easily to us or people to respect us easily. But you know what? Everybody has free will. Because I'm working on myself doesn't necessarily mean that other people are working on themselves. So guess what? People are going to tick me off probably on a day-to-day basis. People are going to not tick me off, but they're going to come at me certain ways sometimes. They might be having a bad day and trying to take it out on people around them. I need to have learned to work with myself to where I don't let other people take me out of my peace. So I feel like that's another part of the healing journey, that people delay their healing process because number one, it hurts. Number two, they don't want to put in the work to maintain that healing. And so it's not easy, but it's something that once you feel this peace, once you feel this love for yourself, once you feel a sense of self-worth, then you really want to hang on to it because you're like, wow, this isn't a feeling that I've never in my life experienced. And I mean, I'm speaking for myself. Maybe some people have experienced self-worth and then something happened and, it caused you to dwindle. And then now you're back on a healing journey. I can say from my perspective, my experience, that isn't something that I ever felt growing up. When I was little, I don't know if I necessarily felt a sense of self-worth. When I was a teenager, I can definitely tell you I didn't have a sense of self-worth. And as a young adult, I didn't have a sense of self-worth to where I put myself in situations that caused me physical harm or whatever the case is. And I didn't necessarily take care of myself and respect myself enough to be like, hey, you don't deserve this. Hey, this person doesn't need to treat you that way. You don't need to stay in this situation. And so I feel like as I've worked on this healing journey, and mind you, it's going in January, it'll be a full year since I actively started meditating daily, working on filling my own cup, doing gratitudes, doing affirmations. Prior to that, I was the person that didn't want to put in the work, just like the quote said. I was a person who didn't want to put in any kind of work because I didn't want to feel pain. I didn't want to rehash that. I didn't want to set boundaries because I was like, hey, like, no, this is who I am. This is what it is. There's no changing it. And that doesn't necessarily have to be your case. That doesn't necessarily have to be your story. Yeah, we at one point in time were who we were, right? Like for me, example, I'm not the same person that I was a year ago. So if I sit here and I tell you it's going to be easy to start a healing journey, it's not. I would be lying to you. But is it worth it? It's so, so worth it, guys. I promise. And I know I've heard a lot of times in grief, in situations that people go through, time heals all. Time doesn't heal all. I can sit here and tell you that if I didn't begin this healing journey, I was just going to continue to be angry, to be bitter, not having a sense of self-worth. Time doesn't heal all. Time doesn't fix things because from the time I was little to being a teenager to a young adult to my 30s, I I had years of the trauma that I was carrying. I had years of the experiences that I was carrying. I had years of the hurt that I was carrying, and time didn't heal it. So if somebody tells you time heals all, it doesn't. I promise you it doesn't. I can speak from experience. Time doesn't heal it. You have to put in the work to work on healing it. You have to put in that work to work through the trauma, to get through the trauma, to be able to get you to a point to where you can heal, you can begin to open up. And healing comes in stages, guys. Healing comes in stages. And what I mean is, when you begin this journey, right, it's new for you. So I would say the very first step is opening yourself up. Second step would be remembering the traumas, talking about the hurt, talking about the pain so that you can access that side of you that has been hurting for so long, but you've subconsciously just dug it deep, deep inside because we don't want to feel it. Then it would be the reparenting. It's like I told my husband the other day, you have the keys, the tools to reparent yourself. You have what happened to you, you know, and number two, you're going over your hurts, your pains, your feelings, your emotions, your traumas. Okay, now number three, we know what hurt. We know the situations. Now let's reparent ourselves. I have the key to, in a sense, go back in time and fix those things that are hurting my inner child. And I don't think people realize that you have that much power. You have that much power to go back in time into a situation and look at the situation and say, XYZ is what I'm still carrying today. XYZ is what hurt me. So now let me reparent myself. And by that, what I mean is, let me give you an example. When I was younger and I was probably less than 10 years old, I used to feel like I didn't belong in my family, like I was unloved, like I had no parental attachment. I had no parental attachment to my mom. I had no parental attachment to my dad. And so with that, I was struggling. I couldn't build a parental attachment because I didn't know as a 10-year-old what I needed to do. So growing up, I can say I didn't feel loved, right? And my mom, my dad, they can sit there and they can say, "We did love you," or "I thought I showed you love," but that doesn't change how I felt, right? It doesn't change my view and things and how I felt at that time in my life, or how I look back and I see my situation now. Your perspective is your reality, my perspective is my reality. And so in that situation, when I go through the steps, I am like, okay, I'm able to say, okay, I felt unloved. I felt not worthy. I felt like I wasn't good enough. And so now I can, in a sense, go back in time and manipulate that time frame and go back and I can look at little Val. I can look at a picture. I can feel little Val inside of me when I meditate. And I can say, you are enough. You are so, so loved. I love you so, so much. You are worthy. And believe it or not, guys, that builds your self-esteem, that builds your self-worth, because you are now reconnecting to a part of you that didn't get access to that when you were little. And so you are healing yourself, and it is something that you have to do day after day. Or let's say you're triggered by a certain situation and at that time you're feeling less than, speaking to little you and saying you are enough, you are worthy. And because once you do that, you really truly begin to love yourself. And I always say you can't love anybody else until you love yourself. You can't be there for people 100% unless you're there for yourself. You have the key to reparenting yourself. So like I said, it comes in stages. Healing is in stages, but the first stage is for you to be open to this healing journey, to open yourself up to the fact that you are so, so worthy of it. You are so loved. You are so capable of doing this, and it's going to be scary, but you can do it. We can hold your hand through it. I will hold a place for you in my heart if that's what you need. But I promise it is so, so worth it. And you'll look back and you'll say, I don't want to go back to the old version of me. I know I don't. I look at the old version of me and I don't want to go back to being angry. I don't want to go back to holding grudges. I don't want to go back to being a person that was pissed off 24/7, somebody who didn't care if I hurt your feelings or not, and somebody just thought about herself, but not truly thought about herself in the sense that she was willing to take care of herself, right? I look back and I wasn't the best wife that I could have been. I wasn't the best daughter, the best mother, the best whatever it is. And now I can wholeheartedly say that on this journey of healing, I always strive to be the best. I always strive to fill my cup so that I can pour into my family. And that is something that comes with the healing journey. And so I challenge you. I know it's not easy and I know that it's scary. And I used to say at the beginning of this, I don't know how much I want to open myself up because what if I remember something that I don't want to remember, which has happened, but I was able to get through it and somebody held my hand through it and somebody can hold your hand through it. I can hold your hand through it, but just know that it's worth it and it's scary, but it's worth it. And you'll look back and you'll say, wow, I don't want to go back to that version of myself. I don't want to go back to hurt me. I don't want to go back to unhealed me. And it's going to be an amazing feeling. And if you want me to dive into some inner child healing prompts again, kind of like what I did on the second episode of this season, let me know and I can kind of dive into some of those prompts and how I would respond to those prompts. So, kind of a little bit more personal in the sense of you get to kind of hear what I would be working on and talking about with my inner child healing guide. Be a little bit more vulnerable. I feel like for the most part, I am trying to be vulnerable with you guys, but that is like a deeper level of vulnerability. But I'm open to it. If you guys want it, just let me know. Next week, I'm pretty excited because I will be talking about how what we watch, what we listen to, what we read, and the situations that we put ourselves in is what becomes our reality. And I have been working on that one for a while, so I'm really excited to share it with you guys. But until next time, I send you so much love, peace, joy, happiness from the bottom of my heart. And please like, share, comment, subscribe, follow on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Podcastle, Riverside platform, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. I wish you all the best and I hope you have an amazing weekend. And until next time, bye guys.